legs. Whoa! Hi. Look at that.
Hello, my people, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of my mountain review series.
I want to see mountains again. Mountains. FinerBub.
Today's video is all about hiking the Willey Range Trail to Mount Willey and Mount Field, two 4,000 footers in New Hampshire's White Mountain National Forest. Throughout this episode, I'll go over the basic details that I think you need to know if you plan to bag these peaks yourself, and towards the end, I'll share a couple bonus tips to help you maximize your own hiking experience. But before we get into that, just a little tidbit for those of you who don't know. On this channel, I'm all about sharing my thoughts and experiences on the best spots to check out and the best gear to bring with. So if, like me, you want to spend more time outside appreciating the finer things in life, do yourself a favor and consider subscribing. Also, feel free to check out the description below for links to all of the information and resources we used in preparation for this trip. Alrighty then, without further ado, let us begin. So, last June, I met up with my dear old friends Foxy and Bumba for a delightful weekend of camping and hiking in White Mountain National Forest. We parked here, by the Ethan Pond Ripley Falls Trailhead. The plan for our first day was to hike from the Ethan Pond Trail to the Willey Range Trail, and then bag as many peaks as we could along the Willey Range Trail before having to turn around and head back to the car. I believe we're going straight.
Willey Ridge. The Willey House.
Willey Range
Trail. Oh, we've done 1.6.
1.6. 1.6. Nicely done, Garmin. After hiking for a mile and a half, we diverted from the Ethan Pond section of the Appalachian Trail towards the summit of Mount Willey. This 1 mile section was one of the most exhausting miles of hiking I've ever done. Yeah, so this is where we split from the AT.
Alright, how should we go?
What is this? New gallery. It's so steep.
Were you sweating before? Now you are.
Okay, time out.
I'm done.
Oh my god, Bumba. How does it just keep going?
Heads up for rocks, you guys. Look up when you're going. Yeah. Extreme rock space. Thank you, Dad. And this is why the Shroud is less popular.
It's fine.
Is it?
I prefer less popular.
Yeah. Not the recommended way up. It's great. I don't think it's done. I guess it maybe could be done with that useful. Jesus, that's too hard.
Oh god.
What do you say about your common piece?
This is tough. This is really tough. Uh-oh. Easy does it. Easy does it. my legs. We did it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Hi.
Look at that.
Yeah, we got some mountain views. Go for it.
That's right. For your life Lincoln Logs, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Alright, keep going. I like.
I'm chilling for a second.
Yeah. Oh, Bumba, he just keeps going.
Energizer Bunny, dude.
Stopping is the enemy.
Damn you, staircase.
Salutations.
Greetings.
Hello.
Greetings from the mountain.
Greetings from planet Earth.
Show me what you got.
Get swifty.
Oh yeah. Get your head down to your toes. Oh, that's cold.
What'd you just do?
Just put my backpack on my sweaty shirt.
On your sweaty shirts, yeah?
David, is that a 40?
This is a 36 or 34. 34.
What I had in Thailand. 36.
You have the 36.
Can't believe you lived out of that.
I didn't want the
It worked.
top loader. Shall we?
Let's.
Attaboy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we're getting to.
Nice.
No snow, worry.
Yeah, yeah.
I see snow. We can see something.
There's some mountains.
What's in there?
Oh yeah, look up time.
After the strenuous ascent, we were rewarded with an epic view of Crawford Notch from the summit of Mount Willey. Oh wow.
Nice. Eat off your hand and stuff.
Oh, this is cool.
Is that 93 right there? Or 302?
That's 302. Our campsite is like around that corner there. That's Mount Washington.
Eat time?
Yeah, let's eat right here.
Hi, Rory.
Hi.
What did we just hike?
Mount Willey.
Did we?
With lots of ladders. Pretty much a 5'2" the whole way here.
Very nice. What are you doing, David?
And the shoes.
It's important. Always tie your shoes.
Oh, this is the peak. It's gotta be.
Hit it!
24 out of 48. Yeah, buddy, halfway there. Bumba, how many peaks have you bagged?
Oh no.
After munching on some snacks, we continued along the Willey Range Trail towards Mount Field. At least now we're on the flat part, but the issue is that it's pretty muddy and wet. As you can see right here, case in point. Let's walk around this side. Whoa, downhill. These are different muscles. Yay. Nope. Nice log. Nice log. Nice log.
It's a narrow little trail, huh? More snow.
Stay on the ground.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Almost got my toesies wet.
Shoes aren't waterproof?
No. I think we need to get there. Hello, buddy.
Found a bunch of trash.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. Get a nice pace going again.
Yeah, definitely. On the incline. Oh yeah. Hello. Okay. Boop. Number 25.
Looks like there's a lookout over here.
Oh, is this Tom?
No,
Field?
there's the field.
Alright.
Is that Tux?
No, you can't. Tux is very obvious. It's like a very visible hole. There's probably still a lot of snow in it. I think people are still skiing it, I think.
That is a really scary looking hotel.
It was
Super nice.
the pinnacle of luxury at one point. It still is. The restaurant there is actually amazing.
Is that a golf course in the back?
It was getting late by the time we got to Mount Field, so instead of continuing on to Mount Tom like we had initially planned, we decided to turn around so that we could make it back to our campsite in time to cook dinner before it got dark. We decided to turn around at the top of Mount Field, just given how late we started the day. Mount Tom was a little ambitious, so we are playing it safe and heading back the way we came. But got 2 peaks in, so that's exciting. All things considered, I'd say that this was definitely a more strenuous day hike than most of the other hikes I've made videos about. The lookout point from the top of Mount Willey was definitely the highlight of the day, but yeah, the tough ascent up to the top of Mount Willey combined with the slog through the mud between Willey and Field definitely made it harder to enjoy. Despite all that, however, I'm glad to have done it, and I'm happy to have made it past the halfway point on my journey towards the New Hampshire 4,000 footer club. Oh man, look at that hawk. There's 2 of them.
Where? You sure it's a hawk?
It's like an eagle or something. I don't know. So, in an attempt to maintain a positive attitude about a day that I see as a clear-cut example of type 2 fun, I'd feel much more comfortable recommending this trail as a quote-unquote good workout as opposed to a quote-unquote fun day hike. Now that we've gone over some of the basic details, before I share my takeaways and concluding remarks, I want to give you a few bonus tips to help you maximize your day hiking experience on the Willey Range Trail. Alright, bonus tip number 1. I shot this video in early June, and as you can see from the footage, there was still snow on parts of the trail. I'm just speculating here, but I think it's because the traverse from Mount Willey to Mount Field happens to sit in this sweet spot where it's high enough in elevation to be cold, but not so high that it's above the tree line. So even though it's not the tallest mountain range in the area, the shade from the trees prevents the sunlight from melting the snow and drying out the mud as quickly as it would in areas that are just above the tree line. Obviously, you can't do anything about that. Just thought it was interesting, but yeah. One thing you can do is to wait until later in the season and bag these peaks once the trail has had more time to dry out. Alright, bonus tip number 2. So, aside from waking up late, part of the reason we didn't get to go to Mount Tom was that we had to hike there and back again. Now, I can think of at least 2 ways to avoid having to do that. The first is to turn this day into a 2-day loop where you spend 1 day on the Willey Range Trail and the other day on the Webster Cliff Trail on the other side of Route 302. There are a few lean-tos and tent sites in the area, but if you don't want to camp out, you can always reserve a bed at the Highland Center or the Mitzpah Spring Hut. And if you don't want to do an overnighter, you can always just leave a bike or a second car near the Highland Center and then drive back down to the Ethan Pond Trailhead, park there, hike the Willey Range Trail, and then bike back to the car. Or if you're with multiple people, you can send someone on a bike to get the car, or you can use 2 cars. Point being, there are a bunch of ways to pull it off if you don't want to backtrack. In there. What time is it? Whoa! 5:32. So that's taken us exactly 6 hours basically to hike from here, the Ethan Pond Trail, Ripley Falls area, to Mount Field and back. So yeah, all in all, it was a good hike. And now my battery's gonna die. I'm really exhausted. So, what are my takeaways from this trip? Well, generally speaking, for any hike, I think it's important to balance your goals with realistic expectations. In hindsight, this trip formed a great memory around fun times spent with old friends. But during the second half of the hike, I was definitely a little disappointed that we didn't get to make it to Mount Tom before having to turn back. I was so distracted by my goal of bagging peaks that I let it take some of the fun out of simply spending time with my friends in a beautiful outdoor setting. Something that now, as I write this in early April of 2020, I cannot do. So, yeah. Live in the moment and try to make the most of the time you get to spend outside with your friends, because you never know when you might not have that option. And that's really all there is to it. So there you have it, folks. I want to wish a very warm welcome to those of you who are new to the channel. If this is the first video of mine that you've seen, I just want to let you know that I also make gear review videos in addition to the mountain guides like this one. So if you're curious about some of the gear I used for this trip, or you just want to learn about some more exciting new places via yours truly, I'll leave some links down below that should suit you quite nicely. Alrighty, my people, that concludes this episode of the FinerBub Show. If you've already hiked the Willey Range Trail, or if you're planning to check it out for the first time, I'd love to have you comment below, especially if you think your insight can help me disprove something that I think I already know. But before you do, I just want to thank you oh so much for watching. If you're planning your next trip or looking for new gear, don't let the small details stress you out. Remember, life's an adventure, so relax, breathe in the outdoors, and don't forget to appreciate the finer things in life. See you out there, people. Peace.
Hello, David.
Is it recording?
Oh yeah.
Hello, my people. FinerBub here. Thanks for checking out the video. Those of you who don't know, on this channel, I'm all about showing you the best spots to check out and the best gear to bring with. So if, like me, you want to spend more time outside appreciating the finer things in life, do yourself a favor and consider subscribing.
Any thoughts, Rory?
Who wants
Let's
to
walk
go?
faster.
Bumba.